بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last time we met, we talked about Salman al-Farisi, may Allah be pleased with him, and how he came to Islam. He is known to scholars as the truth seeker because he fled his homeland, Persia, and took several main stops in his route, seeking Allah's best way to be worshipped. He went from Persia to one of the priests in Sham, in Iraq, and to the other, and to the other, until he found a righteous priest and monk. He prayed and worshipped Allah with him. And when this monk was dying, he directed Salman to go to Medina, because as they can see from their books, it is time for a messenger to come out. He was enslaved by a group of Arabs who took him as a slave and sold him to a Jew. Took all his possessions. After being free, they made him a slave. He worked with the Jew in his farm and was anticipating the arrival of the Prophet ﷺ. And when he heard his master and a friend of his talk about the Prophet ﷺ, he asked them a question and they beated him because it was not of his business. He later on collected something, dates and food, and went to the Prophet ﷺ, because he was informed by his monk that his description in the Holy Scriptures said that he does not accept charity, but he accepts gifts, and that he had something in his back which is the seal of prophethood. So he went in the first day and gave the food to the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. So the Prophet smiled at him and said, "What is this?" So he said, "This is charity." So the Prophet told his companions, "Eat." And he did not eat. So Salman said, "This is one." The following day he brought another plate or dish of food, and he gave it to the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet said, "What is this?" So he said, "A gift." So the Prophet ﷺ ate from it. Then he said, "This is two." And the last sign, Salman was trying to come from behind the Prophet ﷺ and sneak and look at this sign, which is called to be Khatam al-Nubuwwah, or the seal of the prophethood, which is like a mold with hair on it, on the back of the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet saw him trying to sneak around him, he knew that he was looking for it. So he put down his shirt, the Prophet ﷺ, and the minute Salman saw it, he embraced the Prophet ﷺ and started crying. And the companions were astonished. What is he doing? So he sat down and he told the Prophet ﷺ about his long journey that took over 5 or 6 years, or maybe more, just seeking the truth.
So he spent about 6 years.
More than that. Well, I'm not sure of the amount of time he spent, but definitely it is far more than 6 years. Maybe it's 10 years, because he'd been traveling from one country to the other, and spending time with this priest. He's crooked and corrupt. He goes to the other one. He spends a few years with him. So it is definitely more than 10 years. Yes, sir.
Does this not also show that when an individual seeks guidance from his Lord sincerely, that Allah will surely guide them?
Of course. And this is mentioned in the Quran in the last verse of Surah Al-Ankabut. And those who thrive in our side, in our cause, Allah Azza wa Jal will guide them. So whoever thrives his best, and no one knows your best except Allah the Almighty. So you can pretend, you can claim that I did my best and this is all what I got. No, it's not. It's only Allah that knows your best. So if you do your best, then Allah Azza wa Jal will guide you. So the Prophet ﷺ helped Salman al-Farisi to buy himself from his Jew master, and the companions helped him also, and he was a free man. What brought us all to this subject of Salman was the Jews of Banu Qurayza have collaborated with Quraysh, the polytheists of Mecca, and with the tribe of Ghatafan to attack Medina from 3 different fronts. When the Prophet knew that, ﷺ, and the news was shocking, 10,000 warriors are coming to invade Medina. The Prophet ﷺ gathered his companions and told them, what do you suggest? So Salman al-Farisi came up with an idea, and he told him, O Prophet of Allah, Medina is surrounded by nature. There are mountains, hills, and lots of farms and palm trees. So an army of 10,000 would not by any means find it easy to enter from these sides. Therefore, the east, west, and south by nature is protected. These sides are protected, but the north of Medina is exposed. So I would recommend that we dig a big trench up this northern side so that the polytheist army would be unable to penetrate. So the Prophet ﷺ liked this idea because the Arabs never heard of this, and he instructed every group of 10 men to dig about 40 foot. And they have participated, and they started work themselves. Even the Prophet ﷺ participated in digging. The digging of this trench took about 2 weeks to a whole full month. Different narrations. If you look at the plasma, you can see that the trench is over to the north of Medina. And this is what is known as the Khandaq. And that is why some scholars call it the Battle of Khandaq, the trench. And some scholars call it the Battle of Al-Ahzab, the different parties, because there were 3 parties or more collaborating in this battle. And you can also see the fortresses on this map. Now, they started digging, but digging was not an easy thing to do, because as we know, Medina is surrounded by volcanic rock and mountains. So sometimes it's easy for you to dig, but sometimes you're going to find big rocks, and you did not have any bulldozers or special equipment to remove these rocks. Beside all of that, it was extremely cold weather, and they were extremely poor. They did not have anything to eat. And in some incidents, it's reported that the Muslims, while digging this trench, they had 3 days in a row without a single bite. Nothing to eat. Not because they were dieting. It was because they did not have anything to eat. They were poor. And we're also told that the only food they would have would be few bits and pieces of barley cooked with old and stinking fat. And it was horrific taste and horrible smell. But this is the only thing that they could do. They were not on their own. They were accompanied by the Prophet ﷺ himself. And this boosted their morale, because when the Prophet ﷺ was with them, no one would dare and stay back. So the Prophet used to dig with them, ﷺ, and dirt was all over him. He used to dig, and he used to say poetry encouraging them. He used to say an Arabic line that says that there is no life except the life on the day after, on the hereafter, and also the life of the companions, the Ansar and Muhajira. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on them. This shows us that the companions were with the Prophet ﷺ, and that the Prophet was among them and one of them. He was not a ruler that would stay away from his companions and let them do all the dirty work.
Sheikh, I want to ask about the job of the Prophet ﷺ this time.
What do you mean?
The job, the work. Who was working or not? Who was working?
Of whom?
The Prophet ﷺ.
Of course, we just said that the Prophet himself used to dig the trench with the companions.
This was his work.
No, this is his work. I'm talking about his work in his life, from where he gained the money.
The Prophet ﷺ was the ruler, and in the sense that he did not work and traded with the money. On the contrary, we are told in Islam that whatever the booty Muslims get through wars, the Prophet ﷺ gets 1/5 of that. And this is to finance his life and to put this money wherever he wants, for his wives or for his companions, or even to pay money for charity. But the Prophet never kept this 1/5 of the booty he had. It was always on the move. It was always given to charity. And there were lots of miracles that the Prophet ﷺ had throughout his life. And some of these miracles appeared on this great event, the event of the trench, or Ghazwat, the Battle of Al-Khandaq. And inshallah, this is what we will come to when we meet. Stay tuned, and inshallah we will be right back.
So this is an open invitation for everybody to recognize God and enjoy His blessings in this life and His mercy in this life and in the hereafter as well. Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Each name has a meaning. Each name signifies a nature of Allah the Almighty which no one shares or is compared to Allah in it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Now, there were miracles at the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ. And in this battle of Al-Khandaq, or the battle of the trench, or known as the battle of Al-Ahzab, the battle of the parties, one of the miracles that took place was the companions called the Prophet ﷺ and told him that there is this big, huge rock that we are unable to dig out or to break. Our shovels are not working. So the Prophet came down to it. And he had one big stone tied to his stomach. And the Arabs used to do this whenever they felt hungry. So they tie a stone to their stomachs so that they would not feel that it's empty. And he went down there and he hit it once, and subhanAllah, it turned into sand altogether. Another narration says that the Prophet ﷺ hit it once, saying, Allahu Akbar. And 1/3 of it was cracked and turned into sand. And the Prophet said, ﷺ, I see the castles of Rome, the Romans, in the Sham area, because they used to rule the area from Sham district. And Allah Azza wa Jal will give us, the Muslims, its keys. And then he hit it once again, and the second third turned into sand. And he said, Allahu Akbar, I can see the white castles of Persia, and Allah Azza wa Jal will give us the keys. And he hit it 1/3 and final time, and he said, Allahu Akbar, I can see the castles of Yemen, and Allah will give us its keys. Now this was a miracle by itself to break this big rock. But the miracle was in the prophecies where the Prophet ﷺ, in this cold weather, in this hunger, and in this great fear of what's going to happen to them, and he is giving them the glad tidings that they will conquer the Sham area, conquer Persia, they will conquer Yemen. What kind of a man is he? And that's what called and caused the hypocrites to say, the Prophet and his Lord do not promise us except illusions. What are they talking about? And they, to the extent that some of the hypocrites said, the Prophet ﷺ promises us the castles of the Romans and the Persians and the people in Yemen, and one of us is unsafe to go to answer the call of nature. What is this? The believers, as described in the Holy Quran, said that this is what Allah and the Prophet ﷺ promised us, and they were truthful in what they promised, and this increased only in their faith. It increased in their belief. Among the other miracles that took place on the battle of Al-Khandaq was an invitation. This invitation was made by Jabir ibn Abdullah, whose father died on the battle of Uhud. When Abdullah ibn Haram died, he left lots of daughters and Jabir ibn Abdullah. And he told his son, I'm going to die on the battle of Uhud, therefore take care of your sisters. Jabir could not take care of girls because he did not know what to do with them. So he got married. And when he got married, he went to the Prophet ﷺ and told him that I got married. So the Prophet asked him, did you marry a woman that was not married before, a virgin? Or did you marry a woman that had a previous experience in marriage? So he told him, no, I took one that had an earlier experience in marriage, and I did not marry a virgin because I had sisters, young sisters, and I could not put to them and add to them another girl like them that could not take care of them. So I had to get someone with experience to take care of my sisters. So the Prophet ﷺ prayed for him and told him, may Allah bless you and your marriage. This wise woman, the wife of Jabir, she told Jabir to go and whisper in the Prophet's ears and tell him you are invited with a handful of your companions, 4 or 5 maximum, because we have a small tiny goat that we will slaughter for you, because the Muslims are in times of hunger and you've been working, so we would like to offer this to you, the Prophet of Allah. And we have a sa', which is about a kilo or a kilo and a half of barley that we will make as bread. We will grind it and make it as flour and bread. So please come. And she emphasized on Jabir, do not let people hear you. Just whisper it in the Prophet's ears, because it's very little. So Jabir went to the Prophet very happy, very enthusiastic, because he's going to have the Prophet as his guest. And he whispered in his ears. And the minute the Prophet heard this, he said with his loud voice, O people of Muslims, O Muslims, let's go and dine at Jabir's house. And Jabir was shocked. He went back to his wife, dragging his feet, not knowing what to say. He went to the house and his wife looked at him, and she could see the expression on his face. He was depressed. What will we do? So she asked him, what happened? And he told her that the Prophet invited the whole army. And how much was that?
Over 1,000.
1,000 fighters over one goat. What is this? So she told him, the Prophet did this, though you notified him that he was invited with only 4 or 5? He said yes. So she told him, rest assured, nothing will go wrong. It's the Prophet ﷺ, and he knows what he's doing. So the Prophet had the people camping outside, and he ordered them to come in the 5s and the 10s inside the house. He had the stove, and he had this big pot where the food was in, and he had it covered. And he had the bread with the meat. And he would put his hand under the cover and take and put it in plates, and people would eat in the tents. So whenever they had what they needed and they were completely full, they went out and another group came in, until the 1,000 men had enough and they were full of food. And the Prophet ﷺ gave away from that food to other houses. Jabir himself gave away as gifts to other houses, and when they unveiled the pot, the food was still as it is. Nothing was missing from it. And indeed, this was a great miracle of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is an authentic hadith. This is not in the books of history. This is in the Sahih al-Bukhari, the most authentic book in Islam. There are lots of miracles similar to this, where the Prophet ﷺ would gather the whole army on a handful of dates, and he would cover it, and they will all take from the date, and they will eat and eat and eat until they are completely full. There is another incident where Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, was starving out of death, and he used to talk to companions, asking them about hadiths, and they would tell him the hadith, not because he did not know it, he just wanted them to figure out that he was hungry, and they would call him to their houses and feed him, until he met the Prophet ﷺ once, and the Prophet saw him, and he recognized his hunger. So he told him, come and follow me. He went, the Prophet ﷺ, to one of his houses. He asked his wife, do you have any food? She said, by Allah, we don't have not a single thing, except this glass of milk that was given to us by one of our neighbors. So the Prophet, Abu Hurairah says, that I was relieved. Now I can find something to eat. I'm starving. I just fainted. So the Prophet told him, Abu Hurairah, and he was, happy, because now he knew it was coming. So yes, O Prophet of Allah. Prophet told him, go to the masjid and call all the poor people of a suffah. There are about 70 to 80%. And Abu Hurairah said, gosh, I was hoping I would have something, but this is the instruction of the Prophet. So he went to the masjid and he called his brothers, and they came back. And the Prophet ﷺ gave each one of them the glass and say, Bismillah. And they drank until they were full. And after they were filled up, the Prophet ﷺ gave the glass to Abu Hurairah.
So he was watching what
he's watching, and the guy was astonished. What is left? 80. So he drank of it. And the Prophet says, drink more. He said, I drank, and I gave it to the Prophet. And he said, drink more. And I drank so much, I told the Prophet, by Allah, there is no way for anything more. And then the Prophet took the glass and drank from it himself. This is parts of the miracles of the Prophet, and there's so many. But because we're studying the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, and we're following a timeline, a lot of these stories are not suitable to be told now. Hopefully, at the very end, we'll be able to categorize the things in his life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to topics, not according to the timeline. Now, the Prophet ﷺ has succeeded with his companions to dig this big trench, which is a barrier between Medina and the enemy army. And the Prophet ﷺ gathered all the women, gathered all the children, and he had them allocated and put in a fortress known to be by the name of Al-Fari'. And this fortress belonged to Bani Haritha. So it was behind enemy lines. It was behind the Muslims also. So it was protected. And the fight was about to begin because the enemy army has arrived to the outskirts of Medina. What happened afterwards is, inshallah, what we will discuss when we meet next time. Until then, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Mm-hmm.